Her fingers trembled as she reached for the stranger's hand, desperate for escape. Little did she know, that single impulsive decision would change her life forever. Hey there, beautiful souls. If you're enjoying this story of unexpected love and second chances, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories that will leave you breathless. Now, let's dive into this emotional journey together. The rain pounded against the windows of the small coffee shop, matching the rhythm of Eliza's racing heart. She clutched her cup with white knuckles, eyes darting nervously to the door every few seconds. Marcus would be here soon. He always found her, no matter how carefully she tried to hide. 3 months since their breakup, and still, he wouldn't let her go. The texts had turned to calls, the calls to unexpected appearances, and now there were threats. If I can't have you, no one will. His words echoed in her mind, sending shivers down her spine despite the warmth of the coffee shop. Eliza checked her phone. 4:58 p.m. Marcus had texted that he'd be here at 5 o'clock sharp. He was always punctual, especially when it came to his obsessions. She had 2 minutes to disappear, but where could she go? The back exit was blocked by a delivery truck, and the bathroom had no windows. She was trapped. The bell above the door jingled, and Eliza's blood turned to ice. Too early. He was always early when it mattered most. She caught a glimpse of his familiar leather jacket, the one she'd once found comforting but now represented nothing but fear. In pure desperation, she scanned the room. 3 tables away sat a man she'd never seen before. Tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that screamed money, dark hair neatly styled, focused intently on his laptop. Something about his presence commanded attention, though he seemed determined to blend into the background. Without thinking, Eliza stood up, crossed the distance between them, and slid into the chair opposite him. The stranger looked up, startled, piercing blue eyes meeting hers with confusion. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rain and coffee shop chatter. "My ex is here. He's been stalking me. Just pretend you know me for 5 minutes. Please." Before he could respond, she reached across the table and grabbed his hand, entwining her fingers with his just as Marcus spotted her. The stranger's hand was warm, strong, and for a moment, everything else faded away. There was something oddly familiar about his touch, like a memory she couldn't quite place. Then reality crashed back as Marcus approached their table, his face contorting with rage. "Eliza," Marcus spat, eyes narrowing at their joined hands. "Who the hell is this?" The stranger's expression changed in an instant. Gone was the surprise, replaced by something cold and calculating. He squeezed Eliza's hand reassuringly before turning to face Marcus. "I'm someone who doesn't appreciate the way you're speaking to my girlfriend," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "And you are?" Marcus faltered, clearly not expecting resistance. "Her boyfriend. Her real boyfriend." "Ex-boyfriend," Eliza corrected, finding courage in the stranger's unwavering support. "We broke up months ago, Marcus. Please leave me alone." "We're not done until I say we're done," Marcus hissed, leaning closer. "You think this suit can protect you? You don't even know him." The stranger stood up slowly, his movement deliberate and controlled. He towered over Marcus, who suddenly seemed smaller in comparison. "I believe the lady has made her wishes clear," the stranger said quietly. "This is a public place. I suggest you leave before this becomes embarrassing for you." Something in his tone made Marcus step back. The stranger hadn't raised his voice or made any threatening gestures, but there was an undeniable authority in his words. For the first time, Eliza saw fear flicker across Marcus's face. "This isn't over," Marcus muttered, but the conviction had drained from his voice. He backed away, bumping into an empty chair before storming out of the coffee shop. Eliza released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Thank you," she whispered, suddenly aware she was still clutching the stranger's hand. She let go quickly, embarrassment flooding her cheeks. "I'm so sorry to drag you into my drama." The stranger sat back down, studying her with those intense blue eyes. "No need to apologize. Are you all right?" "I'm fine," she lied automatically, then shook her head. "Actually, no. I'm not fine. I haven't been fine for a long time." "I'm Ethan," he said simply, offering his hand properly this time. "Ethan Blackwood." Eliza took his hand again, noticing the expensive watch on his wrist. "Eliza Chen. Thank you for helping me, Ethan." "He'll be waiting outside," Ethan observed, glancing toward the door. "Do you have somewhere safe to go?" The question hit her like a punch to the gut. Did she? Her apartment didn't feel safe anymore, not after Marcus had somehow gotten a copy of her key. Her friends were tired of her drama, and her family lived across the country. I don't know," she admitted, hating how vulnerable she sounded. Ethan closed his laptop and slipped it into an expensive-looking leather bag. "I have a car waiting. I can take you somewhere safe, or call you a cab if you'd prefer." Eliza hesitated. Getting into a car with a stranger wasn't exactly smart, even if he had just saved her from another stranger who had once been the person she trusted most in the world. The irony wasn't lost on her. "How do I know I can trust you?" she asked bluntly. A small smile touched Ethan's lips. "You don't. But I'm guessing your instincts are what made you choose my table out of everyone here. Trust those instincts now." He was right. Something about him had called to her across the coffee shop. Not just his obvious wealth or good looks, but something in his demeanor, a quiet strength that felt safe rather than threatening. "Okay," she decided. "But I'm texting your license plate to my friend." Ethan nodded approvingly. "Smart. I'd expect nothing less." As they stood to leave, Eliza noticed several people watching them curiously. She realized how they must look, her in her worn jeans and faded sweater, him in what was clearly a bespoke suit worth more than her monthly rent. An unlikely pair, thrown together by circumstance. Outside, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. A sleek black car waited at the curb, a driver standing beside it with an umbrella. Eliza scanned the street nervously, but there was no sign of Marcus. "Ms. Chen will be joining me, James," Ethan informed the driver, who nodded without a hint of surprise and opened the rear door. The interior of the car was all soft leather and subtle luxury. Eliza sank into the seat, suddenly exhausted as the adrenaline began to fade. "Where would you like to go?" Ethan asked as the car pulled smoothly away from the curb. "I don't know," she admitted again, hating how lost she sounded. "My apartment isn't safe." "He has a key." Ethan frowned. "Have you reported him to the police?" "3 times. They said they can't do anything until he actually does something." She laughed bitterly. Apparently, stalking and threats aren't something enough. "I know a place," Ethan said after a moment. "A hotel with excellent security. You can stay there tonight, gather your thoughts, make a plan." "I can't afford a hotel," Eliza said, embarrassment coloring her voice. The truth was, she could barely afford her rent. The graphic design job she'd landed after college had seemed promising, but the company had downsized 3 months ago, leaving her scrambling for freelance work. "I'm offering," Ethan said simply. "No strings attached. Just a safe place for tonight." Eliza studied him, trying to understand his motives. Men like him, wealthy, powerful, always wanted something in return. That was one of the hard lessons she'd learned from Marcus, who had seemed so generous at first, only to use every gift as leverage later. "Why would you do that for a stranger?" she asked. Ethan was quiet for a moment, looking out at the rain-slicked streets. "Let's just say I recognize the look in your eyes. I've seen it before." There was something in his voice, a hint of old pain that resonated with her own. Before she could ask what he meant, the car stopped in front of a towering building of glass and steel. The Grand Meridian Hotel, the most exclusive hotel in the city. You can't be serious, Eliza breathed. It's safe, Ethan said simply. That's what matters right now. The lobby was a marvel of marble and crystal, making Eliza acutely aware of her rain-dampened hair and casual clothes. But the staff greeted Ethan with warm familiarity, and no one gave her a second glance as they were escorted to the elevator. Mr. Blackwood, your usual suite is ready, the manager said, handing Ethan a key card. Thank you, Richard. Ms. Chen will be staying in the Sapphire Suite tonight. Please ensure she has everything she needs. Richard's eyes widened slightly, but he recovered quickly. Of course, sir. Right away. As they rode the elevator to the top floor, Eliza's mind raced. Who exactly was this man who could command such respect? The name Blackwood tugged at her memory, but she couldn't place it. The Sapphire Suite was larger than her entire apartment, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A living room, dining area, and bedroom decorated in soothing blues and silvers. It was beautiful, peaceful, and so far removed from her reality that it felt like stepping into another world. This is too much, she said, turning to face Ethan who stood by the door. It's just a room, he replied with a small shrug. The hotel is owned by my company. It's no trouble. His company. The pieces suddenly clicked into place. He placed a business card on the coffee table. My personal number. If you need anything, day or night, call me. As he turned to leave, Eliza felt a sudden panic at the thought of being alone, even in this luxurious sanctuary. Ethan, she called after him. He paused at the door, looking back at her with those intense blue eyes. Would you stay for dinner? Just to talk. I've been so isolated lately, and it would be nice to have a conversation that doesn't involve looking over my shoulder. Something softened in his expression. I'd like that. They ordered room service, a feast compared to the ramen noodles Eliza had been subsisting on, and talked for hours. Ethan was surprisingly easy to talk to, listening intently as she told him about her graphic design work, her dreams of starting her own studio someday, her life before Marcus had systematically dismantled her confidence and isolated her from everyone she loved. In turn, he shared stories of building his company from the ground up, the pressure of living up to his father's legacy, the loneliness that came with his position. Not once did he make her feel like a charity case or a damsel in distress. Instead, he treated her as an equal, someone whose thoughts and experiences were valuable. By the time he left, promising to check on her the next day, Eliza felt something she hadn't experienced in a long time, hope. Sleep came easily in the luxurious bed, without the fear that had become her constant companion. For the first time in months, she didn't dream of Marcus. Morning brought a knock at the door, a delivery of clothes in exactly her size, casual but high-quality pieces that somehow matched her style perfectly. The note simply read, "Thought you might need these." Touched by his thoughtfulness, Eliza showered and changed, feeling more like herself than she had in ages. She was just wondering what to do next when her phone rang, an unknown number. "Hello?" she answered cautiously. "Eliza, it's Ethan. I hope I'm not calling too early." "No, not at all. Thank you for the clothes. How did you know my size?" There was a slight pause. "I asked the hotel manager to have someone make an educated guess. I hope that's not too presumptuous." "It's perfect, actually." "Thank you. I was wondering if you might join me for breakfast. There's someone I'd like you to meet who might be able to help with your situation." An hour later, Eliza found herself in a private dining room at the hotel restaurant, sitting across from Ethan and a sharp-eyed woman introduced as Vanessa Torres, former prosecutor turned victim's advocate. "Mr. Blackwood has explained your situation," Vanessa said, getting straight to business. "What you're experiencing is textbook stalking and intimidation. The fact that the police haven't taken it seriously is unfortunately common, but not acceptable." For the next hour, Vanessa outlined a plan, documentation of all contact attempts, a restraining order filing with her assistants, changing locks, security system installation, and most importantly, building a support network. Isolation is an abuser's best tool, Vanessa explained. Reconnecting with friends and family is crucial for both your safety and recovery. Eliza felt overwhelmed but also relieved. For months, she'd been told she was overreacting, that Marcus would eventually lose interest and move on. Having someone validate her fears and offer concrete solutions was like a weight lifting from her shoulders. "I can't afford all this," she admitted, looking at the list Vanessa had made. "My foundation covers these expenses," Vanessa assured her. "That's what we do." Ethan, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "And I'd like to offer you a job." Both women turned to look at him in surprise. "A job?" Eliza repeated. "Blackwood Industries is launching a new lifestyle app. We need a creative director for the user interface design. Based on your portfolio." "You looked at my portfolio?" Eliza interrupted, shocked. Ethan had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. "I Googled you last night. Your work is exceptional, especially the luminous cafe rebranding. It's exactly the aesthetic we're looking for." "I can't accept a job out of pity," Eliza said firmly, though her heart raced at the opportunity. It was exactly the kind of position she'd dreamed of. "It's not pity," Ethan countered. "It's business. I need the best designer for this project, and that's you. The fact that it comes with an office in a secure building with excellent security is simply convenient timing." Vanessa watched their exchange with interest. "It would solve the immediate safety concern of your workplace," she noted. Eliza hesitated. It seemed too perfect, too convenient. But wasn't.